Hey guys, welcome back to the workbench. Tonight's not going to be a terribly long video, but it's just an update on this project that we're working on together, I guess you can say. Not sure how much build time I will get between now and the end of the month. This is just a project that I've been working on. Throughout this holiday season, it'll be done and detailed out and all that by the time Christmas is over. Tonight it's just going to be a comparison of where I was and where I'm at now and kind of what I did to get here. And then I have a couple of things I'm going to share that I got for the layout down the road. So with that, most of you have seen the videos or pictures I posted of where we're at. Out. Here we go. Get this like this, where I can see better. There we go. All right, so what we got here is, I'm going to start with the before and afters. Okay, so before I started the doors, and I want to show details, so I'm going to zoom. Okay, so this is the wall. It comes, and this is the piece that you'll notch out for your doors. And then obviously I used my red alcohol marker and my brown marker to kind of give it some aged look to it. And then I have my windows that will go in. And then also for this wall section, I did the same. There are 24 windows to this whole building, believe it or not. This is actually an HO build. Lumber. So I'm making an attempt to make it a large size in scale and a small size HO, so it's in between N and HO, so it would fit in where either way I went with it. So this is how this is where we started before we did windows, and I've been working on it this week on and off, but this is kind of where we're at. And I'm going to zoom in because my lighting does not really do justice for this right now. So the only way for you to get details is if I zoom up real close to it. So there is a little bit of cleanup in here I got to do. I got my sticky fingers on it, obviously, but for now, this is the doors, how they turned out. They turned out pretty darn well. You have the like I did before, I did an black Indian ink wash with white spirit and just kind of washed over the brown. The brown is a caramel color alcohol ink. Which is down here in my drawer. Ah, here it is. This is what I used right here. Now it's ginger. Maybe I used ginger, not caramel. I stand corrected. It's ginger, not caramel. I got them confused because they are exactly the same color, just about, in the bottle. So one's caramel, one's ginger. But what I did, and these are made by Ranger. So if you look for them, they're by Ranger. other alcohol ink. Got caramel, ginger. I got pink, purple, blue, black, ginger, caramel, browns, a lot of different colors. These come in handy because they dry quick, and what you don't have to do mass amounts as you do it. You just do a little bit at a time, and it is like, if you've seen like the isopropyl alcohol, how it absorbs and spreads, well, this does the same thing. So you gotta do little by little so you don't get too much. I like these. They are great like paints. Once they dry fully, you can add other stuff to it, and then get a good look. Obviously, you want to try it out on scrap material before you do it, so you get a better outlook of what it's going to look like when you actually do it. But I like my scratch builds because they are my trial and error canvases, if you will. I don't mind if they get screwed up. It's the way I like making my buildings old and dated to kind of have some of the age to it, and that can vary from really worn out, down and grungy, dirty and outdated, run down look to a slightly aged and dated but still usable and maintained building. A lot of them like you find in like old towns that are still being used today. So this is what I used. I used ginger, and how I applied it was, I got my other doors, by the way, so I have them ready to go. So this is what they look like prior. This has primer on it, ready to go. And then what I do is I will just drip on the ginger that I have the way I want it, all over it, let it fully dry, then come back and do the black wash with India ink. But I have it thinned with, you could thin it with, mineral spirits, white spirits, whatever you use to thin your stuff out. But that's what I use, is white spirit. And I've even used isopropyl alcohol too, so it all works the same. Some does, I don't really have a preference. A lot of people do as their go-to, but some makes it look smoother, some just kind of let it dry in place and doesn't come out good. But I've had the same experience with all of them. They all turn out good in my opinion. So anyway, so these are ready to go. These doors will go to the other side of this building. And these doors are technically called baggage doors. They're not really garage doors, but these are baggage doors. And the reason why I went with baggage doors is if you have an old building, like an older style late of century type building that's still around, and they're gonna have like barn doors that open up, like where you have your horse-drawn firehouse or stuff like that. Well, that's what this can be used for. It'll be interesting to try it, but I might I'm working on an idea with opening these up and just playing around with it and see if I can kind of modify these doors to look different. So as that comes up down the road, I'll show you. Just don't have the time to do it right now. But as you can see, this is the night and day. This is pretty much the way I started with primer. I finished off my can with this project, but I used a miniature can of primer. I got it at all used up now, so I don't have any. So, and then once that dried, I went through and I went and applied all of the ginger, let that dry, and then I went through and did the top coat And, you know, as everyone has learned, weathering and aging comes in threes. So you do your base coat, then you do your prime color, and then you do your top. Usually it's dark to light, but in this case I went with ginger and then hinted of black. And I did the same thing for the windows, same process. And this is how it all turned out. Again, I do have some cleanup to do. The glass for these are not in yet. But just basically wanted to show you the outlook of them being installed. As we progress on this build, it's just going to start to pop. Now remember, I said this had 24 windows. This wall is identical for the other wall for front and back. Then we have this wall right here that's going to start to get all of their walls for two sides. But there's a twist that I did to it. I'm adding a door on one side. So here's one wall of the side wall. This is how it turned out. I'm really liking the colors and how they are contrasting with the red and the age, and working well with each other. And I'm working towards the overlay weather of this whole build. Right now it's looking good. I got a little touch-up stuff to do left. Just didn't manage to get that part done this week, with how busy and whatnot the week's been. So I'll tend to do that. I also didn't get the bracing done like I wanted to do. So we'll get the bracing on these. And for that, I am using the smaller in-scale size corner post to go on here. As I've shown. I got a couple of more of those to do, and these are them right here. These are small. They're not the standard HO size, and that's okay. This is going to turn out pretty darn good in my opinion. And then where I said there was going to be a door, I'm going to put it on the other wall. I haven't decided where on the bottom I'm going to put it just yet, but one of these will probably get a door. Because if you look, I can make a door fit in here pretty darn easy. I can fit that real easy. Might have to notch a slight bit out, but that's okay. And with the door, the doors are the same. There you have it. There's the door, the completed door, and there's where this door is not even weathered yet. It's just the molded plastic. So that's the night and day between the doors. So basically, working on getting all the windows in, get all the walls all finished up, get all the extra little bits that my fingers managed to get on the walls, and then get everything to a point where we can start putting in the actual glass. And you know, this is where the windows started. They are just the Tichy Train Group 4x4 double hung window. You get 12 pieces for $40, and the part number is 8029, and that's from Tichy Train Group. And then in the pack, they even give you all the glass and even the frosted glass and stuff that you want for the windows. So that's where we are on this build. It's coming along good. I just have to go and finish doing up some touch-up stuff, and then get all the windows in. And then I'm using this door. That's just a example of the door before. I'm gonna put at least one door in, and it's gonna look really good. So we're getting there. We're getting there. And then I also have to do the bracing on this building too. So we're getting down the line here pretty quick. So with everything going on with this build and how it's coming out, things are starting to shape up fairly good. I've got this stuff to where I want it for the most part right now, and then we're gonna just continue with the progress, because the overall is just starting to come together, and that's what I'm liking about it, is that the colors I didn't know. I looked at them together already, and then I decided, yeah, that'll look good, but truthfully, you don't know until you actually start to do it. And it turned out pretty good. So the other thing I have to share tonight, before we call it a night, is I have some stuff that I ordered, and I did a video of this stuff a couple weeks ago, but I wanted to show you some more, because I just can't believe how well these guys do things. And a while ago, I did a single bridge, 3D printed bridge, and tonight you guys are getting a treat, because I'm bringing it back because I feel it's worth every penny of it. Give me a moment here. I have 3 of these. So one video I went and did this bridge. I did this single bridge a couple weeks ago, when I did a review, and kind of loved how the bridge turned out. So I now have 3 of these smaller bridges that are all the same, and I got these $10 a piece off of eBay, and it came relatively quick. And so here's the other one. So there's 2 separate little bridges. This makes 3 of those. And the way that I'm planning on doing my layout, I want to have a bridge kind of up in the mountains, kind of, sort of. And I wanted to deck it out with something that would handle a double track or a single track. Well, these will do the part. And I don't know whether or not I will use this big one or not, but if I do, it will be, for in scale, it'll allow me to do two tracks. I think HO will be pushing it if I just do one, because this is about the width and everything for that. So in scale, I can get 2 across here very easily. I just love the arched look. It's just phenomenal. They'll again, these will get cleaned up. They're 3D printed, so you know it's worth every penny that I put into it, because now I don't have to worry about this. And the way these bridges can work is if you take up on the wall where this lip is going to go, you can make a footer in the mountainside, and then you just put this resting on where you want it to go, and then you just can blend it in with the mountain, and and have it rest on it. You're not really putting a whole lot of weight. If you're doing N scale, your locomotives are probably your heaviest that you're probably going to have, unless you have some heavy cars that you are putting weight on. But yeah, it's not going anywhere. And for this, for the footers of these, I've decided that wherever it's going to be, you're going to put in like a concrete footer, so these actually can sit flush instead of just with weight. Instead of them burying themselves down into the foam or whatever, we're going to put like a small strip of wood or solid plastic down that will replicate a footer, and these will get set on that. So it's actually pretty good, that these sit flat like this, because then you can just merge it in pretty easily. The quality of these are good. I mean, these are gray, look like laser printed resin, or maybe filament or whatever. Not resin, but filament. 3D printed ones is what they look like. I could be wrong. But what I like about them, even the black, I mean, if I want to keep the black top for a road, that's awesome, because all I got to do is, just put the lines on that. But I'm not using these for roads. I'm using these for trains. I might use one for cars, but the small narrow bridge over here, even for N scale, it's not big enough for, in my opinion, the N scale size cars with having a lane both ways. I just don't see it happening. So if I did do anything, they are going to be probably train bridges, just out of middle of nowhere bridges, because I don't see a lot of bridges out there that have like girding rails across them, especially out in the. It's just a train going across there, so that it's just going to be track. There are some, don't get me wrong, there are some that do, but most of the ones I've seen, they just don't. And I know over in the countrysides, over in England and area, they do have like brick, nice decorative brick pieces that go right along the edge. Not, just to give it a good look, but I'm not going to that extent. These are just going to be, so this one's going to be my double track bridge. I'm going to have 2 N scale pieces of track going this way. This will all get primed and painted. I don't know if it's going to be a black bridge or a color bridge. I thought about making it a rustic bridge, which, kind of shows it kind of strong but still crusty up in the mountains. I really haven't decided which direction I'm going to go with it yet. But it is going to be a crossing, and where this bridge is, and there's probably either going to be a valley, or maybe in the background water. I really haven't thought of that just yet, but I just saw these for the trains going across it, and they caught my eye. This one here is specifically, the smaller ones were $10, and this one was, I think, $17, particularly. And for the time it takes to make these, I feel pretty good with the cost. I know I've been around the hobby enough to know that it takes time, and the money for the filament or ink or stuff that 3D printed is out there is not always cheap. It's expensive stuff, and some models like this take quite a bit of it. Even though it's still pennies on the dollar for the model to be made, you're still having to buy it in bulk, and that's not cheap all the time. So for the look of this, I'm pretty pleased. And the outcome will be good when it's in place where I want it. So the nice thing about this is that the bridge will get all done and installed, and then it will get connected in line with either side. So this will get dry fitted first to the foam or whatever, and then I'll know where it's going to sit, and then I will just run my track. I'll go backwards from this so that the pieces of track on either side will connect to it properly. And one way to do that is you create a short section of track on either side and get it in place, and then, you know, all that good stuff. I've been asked if I'm going to just use rail joiners for my layout, or if I'm going to do solder joint. Well, I would love to do solder joint because the current flow is more stable, in my opinion. It allows it to, you know, not be hesitant, whereas rail joiners, they get loose and they don't make great contact and all that. So I probably will do solder joints. Definitely will be getting some test pieces and doing all that before I do any of this, just so I know I can do it right. But that's it this week, guys. I know that next week's the last full entire week before we get to Christmas. So I hope you guys are having a good holiday season this year so far, and whatever comes up during the holiday season, hope it's a good one for you all out there, and wherever you're watching from. Hopefully you will have just as much enjoyment with your family as you do in the hobby. And we'll just stay tuned for the next segment of this video, which will come out next week. And then the week of Christmas, we'll see if there's one coming out or not. I haven't had one set up for that yet, but there will be another one next week. So until then, you guys take care, and we'll see you next week.